Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with a new video. This one's going to be my thoughts on the recently revealed Star Wars Episode 7 The Force Awakens teaser trailer. So yeah, no Star Wars Rebels this week. I don't think it's coming back until January. So yeah, given that this is like basically, the big Star Wars thing out right now, I thought I might as well discuss it because it's a movie I am going to review on my channel. Some of you may not know this, but I have actually reviewed Star Wars episodes 1 to 6 on my YouTube channel. I'm obviously reviewing Star Wars Rebels as it's going on right now. So it makes sense that Star Wars is the sort of thing that I review. I give my thoughts on the trailer. So, yeah, just a teaser trailer. It's just over a minute long. Though admittedly a lot of it is kind of like, 1 second scene, 1 second of a black screen, cut to the next shot, 1 second, and so on. Not a massive amount to really discuss about, what the movie itself is actually about. It gives you an idea of the kind of look that we're going to have with J.J. Abrams as the director. But overall, it was fine. Like, for a teaser trailer, it actually showed like a decent amount. Usually with teaser trailers, you don't expect anything really. Maybe a logo, one shot that's maybe not even part of the movie. But in this one, we got a few shots. Look at some of the characters. And definitely there were some shots there to appeal to fans of the old trilogy and stuff like that. But overall, it was good. I'm excited for the movie. I wouldn't say it's like made me like super more excited because, as I said, there's not much to it. But I'm happy with what I saw. So let's get into some of the actual discussion on some of the stuff that's actually here. Um, Obviously, the in terms of the dialogue that's said in the trailer, it's mainly just this kind of creepy voice in the background saying that, have you heard about it? It's the awakening. It's just like the dark and the light. So right there, it's like you almost got the sense like they'd maybe stop at just the dark side awakening again, just like, okay, Sith coming back, but then they say the light as well. So that presents this idea that obviously Luke brought balance to the Force with the help of Darth Vader in Return of the Jedi. But after that, instead of maybe, I think what the EU does is that Luke basically establishes a whole new Jedi Order, and there's just a load of Jedi again. The idea that maybe they're going for here, 30 years on, is that maybe the galaxy as a whole made a decision that force sensitive people shouldn't be trained how to use the Force, and so apart from like Luke basically, and maybe a little bit with Leia, no one really is trained in how to use the Force apart from a select few people, and because of that, the Force isn't kind of as active as it once was, and so that's why it's technically asleep, and that's why it needs to awaken. Now, what exactly wakes it up? That's just what we're not sure about. Maybe it's our two main characters who seem to be John Boyega, who's the obviously character in the stormtrooper stormtrooper uniform that we see in the first shot, and Daisy Ridley, who we see in the kind of Tatooine shot on the land speeder type thing. Maybe they're force sensitives and their powers have just recently awakened. Because I think the rumors seem to be going around that like Luke is in the movie, but he's not really like a main character in the movie, and he's more of just this kind of hermit Jedi who, isn't really using his powers at all, and isn't like the master of a new Jedi Order, and it's more like he's gone into seclusion so as not to like unbalance the Force or something like that. So it presents this cool idea that suddenly these new people, Force awakened, come back into the universe, and these characters who've gone into kind of hiding or something like that come out to respond to this. But obviously, just that idea of kind of balance, that it's not just one side or the other that's kind of come back out. Like the EU, I think went with more of the idea of that the light side takes control, and then the dark side kind of eventually comes back. In this case, you kind of have the sense like maybe it should have been the light side, but instead both have gone into kind of hiding, and maybe they thought the balance was actually just removing all force sensitives from the equation, but it's about finding a new balance or something like that. It's a cool idea, but obviously I'm speculating on something we really don't know much about at all. But yeah, let's move on from that. I think most people agree that it's probably Andy Serkis who's doing the talking. We know he's in the movie, and we don't know his character, but that would be interesting. But yeah, some of the shots, obviously, John Boyega is probably, I think, essentially meant to be our main kind of new character, and we obviously see him here in the stormtrooper uniform, but with the helmet off, and we don't really see that too often, except for I think Han and Luke in Episode 4 had it off, and so because of that, you get the idea that okay, he may be wearing a stormtrooper outfit, but he's not a bad guy, and maybe he was doing something undercover. Maybe he was a former stormtrooper but has left. Who really knows? Maybe his force powers awakened and they tried to capture him, and he left. I think that's a potentially really cool idea because I think the line where he says, "Did you feel it? It awakened." When the word "awakened" comes up, John Boyega's on screen, I think. So that would be a cool idea if his force powers awaken. These new stormtroopers try and take him out. He flees to Tatooine, maybe, and that's where he comes into contact with Daisy Ridley, who looks like she's also on Tatooine. Again, it's not confirmed that this desert planet is Tatooine, but like it's Star Wars. It makes sense that it's Tatooine. That's the desert planet we have here, because it's kind of one of those situations where it's just like everything important happens on Tatooine, despite it being the planet where just at a base level you wouldn't think anything would happen there. So that would make sense that those two meet up on this planet, and then I think the rumors are that these two eventually join the crew of the Millennium Falcon or something like that. But we really don't know specifically what's going on. But the idea that she's kind of reacting to she's going off on her land speeder, reacting to something that's happened, would make sense that there was maybe some explosion with the Sand Trooper transport ship. She's going off to respond to this and maybe comes into contact with him. But at the same time, you have the next shots of the trailer, which is obviously like this whole ship full of stormtroopers getting ready for something, and maybe it's to get him back or something like that. So that's pretty cool. Other shots, one of probably the most interesting shot of the trailer, not interesting, probably the most good looking shot of the trailer is the X-Wing is kind of skimming over the surface of the water on some kind of more wet planet. That was a really cool shot. The obvious question is like, okay, why is the Rebel Alliance still using X-Wings as their kind of main ship when potentially they would be the biggest kind of military outfit in the system? Now that's going to be something that the first movie will have to establish. Episode 7 is, okay, why is the Empire still there? Why are the Rebels still using their old technology, maybe upgraded a bit, but still fundamentally the same ship? But still, it's a cool shot. X-Wings are cool, and what this trailer in general with the vehicles did was show a lot of in-atmosphere flying. We're so used to, especially old trilogy, a lot of the fights taking place in space. We're not really used to like actual action taking place kind of just over the surface of a planet. So it'd actually be cool to get to see, apart from I suppose Hoth, but it'd be cool to get to see more like maybe ship on ship just over the planet stuff with them. So what exactly are they doing? What's the role of the Rebel Alliance in this new movie? A lot of questions. But yeah, I think that's Oscar Isaacs as the character in the X-Wing that we get focused on in the trailer. So that's interesting. Most interesting for me, obviously, in the trailer was the scene with the lightsaber, which is obviously potentially our new villain, but I think the idea is that most people are assuming this is either Adam Driver's character or Max von Sydow, or I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, his character. It looks like a younger character, so I'm going to assume it's Adam Driver, and I think the rumors are that he's like this, he's not a full-on villain, he's just a guy who is obsessed with the Sith and all of their artifacts, their relics and stuff like that, so him having this crazy lightsaber that looks a bit older would make sense. Now, the lightsaber is interesting because obviously like it lights up kind of sequentially, like the main blade lights up and then the kind of crossguard little blades come out. Now, the one problem I have with this is that because most lightsabers are not made out of, the actual hilt is not made out of lightsaber resistant materials. So most of them end up just having like I think a tougher material around the emitter. But realistically, if you just slice down the length of the blade, you can actually just kind of cut through it eventually. But obviously, most people with a lightsaber are skilled enough not to allow that to happen. So a crossguard makes sense, but the fact that there's actually the emitter comes out past the kind of blade doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, because someone could just slice down and slice through the crossguard emitter to make it useless. So I'm assuming that the emitter for the two kind of crossguard blades have to be made out of like some lightsaber resistant material, like what's it called, corsosis. Completely messing up the letter that's in the middle. Corsosis, tosis, I think it is. That's it's like this weave or something like that. So there's a couple of metals that are resistant. So that it would make sense that maybe that's the case. Otherwise, like, it doesn't really seem that useful. But it's a cool idea as basically kind of this lightsaber broadsword type things, because you expect the kind of broadsword to have that more of a thing. So yeah, the lightsaber seems cool, and just the idea that we see a lightsaber in the trailer is awesome, and I'm looking forward to see how J.J. Abrams does lightsaber fights. Though, obviously with the Force asleep, apparently, like, who are the lightsaber fights going to be between, if, like, potentially, like, by the end of Revenge of the Return of the Jedi, only Luke, like, Luke is basically, like, the only known character who, like, really has a lightsaber, so, you know, where did the rest of them come from? So that's an interesting idea. But yeah, we also get a shot with the new droid that we see. Most people, I think, are calling it like R2 Beach Ball or something like that. It's a really cool design, because you have the classic astromech head, but with this, I assume it's some sort of kind of anti-grav thing that's like keeping the head like hovering above the ball section, and it can control it. It seems like a cool idea. Is it going to be important, or is it just like, hey, new droid, we're showing it off here? It's a little bit kind of like, a lot of the shots in this trailer are they just to show off some cool things, or are they there to show off some important things in the movie? Like, is this droid going to be super important going forward? Not so sure about that, really. And then the final shot of the trailer, I think it's just Millennium Falcon. We get a focus on it doing some kind of nice maneuvers through just over Tatooine, I think. So that should be cool. You know, I like the Millennium Falcon, but it's not the type of ship where I just gonna freak out just because we see it again. But definitely, I can understand why they did it as the way to end the trailer, because it would make a lot of like really hardcore fans of the prequel, original trilogy, really happy. Personally, as I've said before, you know, I like all 6 movies. But definitely, like, for me, I kind of just, my preference would be that I think, for me, the prequel trilogies, I find them to be, there's more to them, more interesting stuff going on in the prequels. I like the original trilogy, but for, like, my taste in movies, the kind of prequels appeal to me a lot more. So I'm hoping Episode 7 finds a nice balance between, you know, obviously, like, having that appeal, that wider appeal that the original trilogy seems to have, and that a lot more people seem to enjoy them, but also using some of the good aspects that the prequel trilogy had, like the up pace of the lightsaber fights and the actual like proper like styles of lightsaber combat and stuff like that, and not just that in general sort of thing. So I'd like to see that going forward. But yeah, overall, as I said, I was pretty pleased with the trailer. The important thing to note about it is definitely it's a teaser trailer. Like the movie's not out for, basically like just under 13 months away at this point. So the fact that we got to see this much footage was actually pretty interesting. Now, how much of it is like specifically for the trailer, how much of it is actually part of the movie, again, we're not sure, but I was very pleased with what we saw in this trailer, and I'm very excited for the movie. Again, not much else to say, but in the comments, let me know what your thoughts were on the Force Awakens teaser trailer. But for now, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.